It's been a while since I posted a video, but I'm back stronger than ever with a well-executed, affordable titanium GMT to present my Timex continues the exciting line of the North Expedition with a new design GMT watch, launching an extra lightweight and durable stealth titanium GMT with a spectacular design, in my opinion. So Timex, the brand which used to us with super affordable good-looking keys and Marlins, decided to step up, offering potentially one of their most expensive watches ever made. But the question is, besides being extremely good looking, is this their most complete watch tool worth all the money asked? Well, we'll have to discover together.
Hey guys, you won't believe what Timex just unveiled. The game changer for watch lovers. Are you ready to elevate your watch game without breaking the bank? Well, let's find out and see if that's what this is. Timex has just dropped a bombshell, the North Expedition Titanium GMT. This isn't just another watch, it's a revolutionary fusion of style, durability, and affordability that dares to challenge the luxury giants like Tudor and Rolex. Essentially, this watch is a very do-it-all GMT, just like one we watched recently, the Nozomi Aviary GMT. Except for this, instead of it being a Miyota movement, is in fact a Seiko movement. So let's take a look and see if this is really all that it's cracked up to be.
The North Expedition collection, from my understanding, aims to cover a segment which is not yet very accommodated between the watch genres. They basically offer a modern mix of high-tech materials and angles through the matted blasted titanium case with a monolithic shape and legible dial, inspired from the iconic field watches with robust movements, lightweight and increased waterproofness. According to the visuals and the name, basically it's a line of mountaineering watches, hence the logo, with higher specs compared to the usual simplistic field watches. I believe a high-tech line deviated from the Timex Expedition DNA. So I call them GADA or all-arounders, basically watches which can withstand any conditions. A watch which is able to offer you the excitement and the confidence to do whatever activities you want. Surprisingly, the North Adventure comes on a standard Timex box. Not like the other one was severely special, but the box was branded with the logo motif.
Okay, I gotta say I'm loving these boxes. The Nozomi box was nice. This Expedition North Timex box is nice. Keep it coming. This is great.
And their specific color codes. The color coding of the brand North Adventure is pretty cool. It's a lime yellow, which we all know it's a color code flagging extremes or risk, but it's also the tone which some brands are using it to flag utilitarian specs. As an evolution and as a side-by-side, I do like how the North Adventure developed from the first field watch which I reviewed and still own to this GMT model because I consider it a step up in quality. If the 3 hands version, although had a spectacular sculpted case and great specs, I find it inferior in terms of quality and the detailing level. This GMT feels simply better contrasted and well executed. Getting in depth, this is a true GMT with a jumping hour feature which can be actioned by pulling the first position of the crown. But there is also the correct bi-directional GMT bezel which works flawlessly, has 120 clicks and works smoothly and accurate in both directions. I'd say better than the ones from the Tudor's GMTs.
Well, you know, what's interesting is the Tudor GMT doesn't have a rotating bezel, at least the one that people think about the most, I think. As far as this one goes, we're talking about a lightweight titanium marvel that's built for adventures and style aficionados alike. Now, the movement itself may not be a marvel, but the price point for it is. And with this robust design, it can handle quite a lot, from mountain adventures to beach escapades, all while keeping your wrist comfortable and chic.
The watch is incredibly balanced, proportions and color-wise as well. The color palette is good, the contrast is right. Timex came up with a really interesting color composition consisting in the matted grey titanium case with a slightly red hue. The GMT bezel is appealing and works with the overall composition proposed within the dial, which is perfectly matted with white oversized markers balanced by the simplistic white baton hands, but also by the yellow accented imposing GMT hands, also mirrored by the GMT label as well. In fact, this is a color scheme which works with so many strap combos and accents, works with yellow straps, white straps, gray straps, as you'll see across the video.
It's nice, yeah. You know, it's not a deal breaker, but I did notice too that this is a 3 Hz watch, or roughly 21,000 beats or vibrations per hour, that is. So as far as this goes, it's a 3 Hz, so it takes 3 times per second. Compared that to a 4 Hz, it looks a little bit less smooth. So I mean, in this department, I have to definitely give the point over to the Miyota movement with Nezumi. But so far, though, I mean, with the aesthetics of this watch, it's a pretty good competitor.
The case proportions against the dial wideness is similar to the Rolex Explorer 2, you heard me well. The dial feels wide and legible with oversized markers, as well as Rolex did with their latest 42mm Explorer 2. In terms of case volume and thickness in exchange, it feels a bit closer to the Black Bay Pro, associating the color scheme as well. Personally, I was actually surprised and I was expecting a smoother, more compact dial layout. I felt the product renders more appealing than this 3D model.
Now, the date on this too is nice. Like, I don't know if you see that, but the backdrop to the number matches actually the dial, which doesn't always happen with dates. So, kudos to them for that too.
And besides the larger diameter, the dial offers depth as well. It feels like there is plenty of space from the sapphire crystal to the dial surface, but in reality, room had to be made for the overlapping hands because they are 4 this time.
And did he mention this is a Timex? It's a Timex. This is phenomenal. Way to go, Timex.
What is curious, technically the base of the hands is coated in black to create the idea of floating hands, a concept inspired from the Rolex Explorer 2. However, the bottom yellow GMT hand ring exceeds the footprint of the black hands, and honestly it looks awkward to have a yellow ring between the black base of the hands and the black dial surface. Another awkward thing must be the lume. When I've seen the renders for the first time, I've seen big markers, I imagined a lot of lume. However, it's a bit different. I'm not sure what they were trying to do, but the diverse shaped markers from the dial are loomed accordingly in green-yellow. In exchange, the hands are less brighter, being blue when I ignite them with the flashlight. However, after a few minutes they get even because the markers are fading quicker, the hands remaining mostly at the same intensity. But from my perspective, it's super awkward.
You know, I think that the indices on there, such as that triangle and the circles, for those that are just getting into the watch world like me, I think that they look a lot like the Tudor indices on the Tudor GMT. Now, when it comes to the second hand and the hour hand, I can't quite say that it's too similar to anything in particular. For a moment, I was thinking that it looks kind of like the Breitling hour hand and second hand. However, you know, it's kind of its own thing, but I don't know if I'm a fan. It doesn't really have any like committed design aesthetic to it. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna give more points over to the Nezumi. And that watch, I thought that the GMT hand looked a lot like a Zodiac watch's hour hand for some of the divers, but for their skin divers. But however, this, it's not bad, and considering that this comes in a titanium case, it's a pretty good deal.
In regards to the movement, I'm not gonna lie, I was a bit disappointed as well. Since when Timex is giving up on the 9 series Miyota movements to accommodate basic Seiko movements? This model hosts the Seiko NH34A, which basically equips the affordable 5 GMT lines. I have nothing against the movement, at least the movement winding feels more satisfying, but I think the Miyota premium movement would have been more suitable for the case design and the concept, especially when they ask 550 euros for it.
I agree.
There has to be a few downsides here and there, right? The case design is equally interesting because it starts from a common teneo shape but angled and faceted with a diagonal chamfer which continues the same facet and angle towards the end of the lugs folding underneath. But there is also the facet which slides towards the lugs, creating a shelter for the strap underneath the case, making basically the entire base of the case to fold towards the wrist. It really feels like a sculpture, and it is the type of the design which I would apply to my product. And I'm expecting
really
to see
comfortable.
a bracelet alternative for it because it works very well composed with those ends of the lugs. The crown is interestingly positioned at 3 o'clock, very discreet and narrow, but pretty easy to operate to screw or unscrew. Having a nice North Expedition logo engraved, ensuring a waterproofness of 20 bar, so a robust concept. The renders, interestingly and deceiving in the same time, I thought the watch comes with a standard isoframe inspired strap with the usual vented holes and a thick diameter. But what do you know, this is actually one of the strengths of the watch because this rubber is extremely soft, it is thin and super comfortable with vented holes serving as adjustment points for the clasp, which has a double pin which leans on the buckle, having similarities with a strap of a smartwatch. In my view, the North Expedition logo printing on the thin soft rubber with a tailored buckle,
You know, I wonder if it comes with that compass too on the bracelet right there.
shows attention to the details and the completion of a product alongside the case. So I really appreciate this detail. In terms of specs, the Expedition GMT titanium measures 41mm in diameter with 48mm as lug tip to lug tip, 13.5mm in height, 20mm between the lugs, and weighs around 75 grams. The watch has a titanium case with a screwing crown signed by the brand, which ensures 20 bar as waterproofness, with a nice rubber, has a titanium buckle, a sapphire glass, and an open case back which unveils the not so exciting NH34A movement with a Timex branded rotor, which is basically the same movement as the 4R34, the Seiko caliber, offering 41 hours power reserve. Not so potent or good looking, but at least the winding of the watch is exceptional.
It looks a lot more comfortable and better wearing than a few other GMTs I've seen. I think with this one, I'm not sure the specs on the other one, but visually to me, this looks a lot more slim fitting than some other GMTs. So I think that this one is a welcome change to that.
The price of this model is 549 euros, but if you subscribe to their newsletters you can obtain a 15% discount, so it makes the value of the watch more acceptable in my opinion. Currently it is sold out, but it will appear in stock as it happened with the other popular Timex models. And in terms of wearability and comfort, it is pretty lightweight, has a nice construction, a soft, comfortable rubber strap with multiple adjustment points, has indeed a bit of presence on the wrist, but overall I think it's quite a looker on the wrist. A true affordable GMT companion with solid specs, so not so many things to complain about it. As conclusions, is this Timex worth the price? Well, compared to a Seiko 5, it is more expensive. They have the same movement, but this Expedition GMT simply has the thing, as a modern high-tech field watch adapted to a GMT as an inspired DNA from the Rolex Explorer 2 or the Tudor Black Bay Pro. And reviewing it now with goods and bads, if I'll have to get back in time, I'd buy it again. So that is it. Hope this video finds you well. I'm glad to be back, and I'm really curious to know what do you think about this Timex North Adventure Titanium GMT. Please let me know in the comments below.
Well, everybody, thank you for taking a look at this video. It's got great durability. This watch, adventure-ready features. You know, what's not to love? Except for maybe that 3 hertz and maybe a few other elements such as a very common looking design for the second and hour hands. So lots of good things, but I think they could have improved that. But this is a lot to get from Timex, so very, very nice watch indeed. Thank you and have a good night.